Okay, so today I'm talking to the guys from the Antiguan Carnival Festivals. We have Khan Kudais, Director of Culture, Petley O'Keefe, Director of National Festivals, Michael Freeland, Deputy Director of the Carafesta. And later on we will have joining us the Honourable Daryl Matthew, Minister of Sports, Culture, Festivals, Arts and the Carol Festival. So welcome and thank you for joining us today. As I say, one of the things that we're looking at is Carnival and the history of Carnival and why, as Caribbean people, we celebrate Carnival and the importance of it to us. Now, I know you are in the Caribbean, but for us in the UK, Carnival is the only festival we have as Caribbean people here. And it's the only kind of thing that we have to bring us together as a community. And I'm trying to see the differences on how they are celebrated across. So, my first question, who were the founders of Antiguan Carnival?
Okay, I'll start the discussion off with that question. Our carnival was really a process because prior to 1953, there was a celebration around Christmas time, and that's what we would have called Carnival. However, it was in June of 1953, Ferdy Shaw, as we call him here locally, came up with this one-day event. And, they brought the kids out, they brought the family out, they had the floats, they had their costume. And it was such a success for that particular event that he was actually approached and said, do this every year. However, there was one Mr. Maurice Ambrose in 1956. He was a builder and a musician, and he actually lived in the Virgin Islands. And so he came and he brought this beautiful proposal to Mr. Shaw's, and shortly after meeting with a few friends, they came up with what we now know, or I would say somewhat an evolved carnival that we have right now. And this happened in August. The actual event happened in August 1957. So from our records, the carnival that we know now, we would say started in 1957. And this is also important that I will add that it has evolved in the sense that we had some shows that over the years were not as popular, but we've had staples that up to this day, it is something that, the visitors, the locals look forward to alike. Some of these shows would be the Calypso competition. It would be the Panorama competition, and I'm knowing that Mr. Cordis can speak at length with regards to Panorama, and the Queen Show, and the Queen of Carnival. She would then be the ambassador for the whole of Antigua's Carnival, and unless something happened recently, that first Queen of Carnival, 1957, she is still alive and she's still as gorgeous as ever.
And does she still partake?
I believe last year she was the marshal.
Okay.
Gloria White, a beautiful, beautiful woman.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing. And she's, if you could get a picture, that'd be great to put in there.
Well, we can send a picture. Also, all of the information that I just said, it's on our Carnival webpage, because we do try our best to keep the history alive and what it actually meant for us to celebrate this. So Carnival came in with two things. It was an attraction, and it's still an attraction for our tourists and for our nationals living overseas. And it's also a celebration of the emancipation of slavery. So, it's a great celebration that comes together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you have it the same time as the emancipation of slavery? You have it in the August, end of July, beginning of August, or?
Yes.
Okay.
We do, and it always covers the first. It always has that first as a part of it. And our Monday and Tuesday, which is our largest celebration with regards to our troops and groups, those are the days that, if you're in Antigua, as our one of our past ambassadors for Carnival used to like to say, you have to come. You have to come and see that.
And how many days does it go on for? Because you go on for a while, don't you?
We have 13 days, so we just rounded it off with 2 weeks of celebration.
Right.
And we involved children, so we have events catered for children, for the adults. So we have revelry, we have costume, we have music, and I would just hand it over to Ken or Michael to discuss the actual events itself,
okay,
from the cultural perspective.
Okay, Michael, over to you.
Well, the cultural element, I'll leave that for Khan. But in terms of the festivities for Carnival, I lead a band, a mass troupe here called Miss Carnival. And we take part in at least three of the days of the activities that happen. You have what's called T-shirt Mass, which is our largest explosion of revelry on the road. I think it has something like 20,000 participants. It grew, enormously from 2008 until now, and I believe last year it registered around 20,000 participants on the road taking part in this splendid, just cutting up of T-shirts and making some sort of a costume out of T-shirts. And then we have what is called Carnival Monday and Tuesday. And we were instrumental in changing the brand of Carnival Monday to what is now known as Monday Wear. And, kudos to the festival's office. They now look at Carnival Monday as the date for us to celebrate the emancipation which the Carnival was brought about. And on that day, we try to emulate something that is patriotic on that day, whether it's the Antigua Black Pineapple, whether it's our flag, whether it's the reindeer, just a symbol of our heritage. We try to express on that Carnival Monday. And on Tuesday, we come out with our costumes, our color, our splendor, just to showcase our creativity and talent that we have. So, we very much love the process that Carnival has come, and we are one who instrumental in ensuring that we take part, be a part of this excellent, what we dubbed as the Greatest Summer Festival. And I know Petley and her team, they've been doing a great job over the last year or so. And it's just unfortunate that we didn't have a summer festival this year. But I know 2021 it is going to be something that no one definitely can miss. So I'll leave the cultural aspect to Khan, as he's our maestro when it comes to that.
Yeah, just to add to what Petley would have said, in terms of the origins of Carnival, one of the things that's rather important to mention is that some of the ideas that relate to an annual Carnival celebration would have been something that would have been an idea of some of the grassroots people, some of the community groups. Point, which is a village here in Antigua and Barbuda, used to have a Carnival-like event on a yearly basis. And this is what she was mentioning about the Christmas time. That would have evolved, at that time, many people from Antigua would have been traveling to places like St. Thomas that had their annual celebrations, and they brought back that idea. George Nugget, Joseph, who recently passed away, I think about 2 years, would have been, one of those persons who was a member of a steel band at the time, who would have been a vibrant force in Carnival in the early years. As it relates to culture in Carnival, they've always been this strong tie between the two. Without culture, without the mass, without steel band, without calypsonians, without all of the color and all of the splendor, there would not be any Carnival. So what we would have seen at that time, and even coming up through the years, were things like the Makajumbis, the clowns, the market ladies, and you name it, just all of these creative type of costumes that would have been a signature of our Carnival over the years. One of the things I must say though, we would have seen a change, I guess with time, with development, there's some things that do change. We'd have seen a vast change in the costuming at mass. here in Antigua and Barbuda. And I mean, it has been a debate, right, for some time as to, you know, how we can revisit some of the traditional, and we've already started that process, right, in revisiting some of the traditional costumes and finding ways to sort of develop them so that they can still reflect traditional times, but in a very modern setting, right? So finding ways for both traditional and modern mass playing, modern, traditional and modern ways of performing, you know, to sort of coexist in the same space. So, you know, Petley also mentioned that Carnival is 13 days long. It did not start that long. I mean, only in recent years it would have gone on to 13 days. I guess because people wanted to have more fun, they started adding more days. Maybe we may see in the future a 3-week Carnival celebration. You never know.
Okay, all right. Your mic's going a little.
And just to add, Tara, you said something about the 3 weeks of Carnival. Well, actually, you know, Antigua will be an explosion next year with 3 to 4 weeks of festivities, because we are hosting CariFesta next year, and it happens 2 days after the closing of Carnival. So definitely we'll have 3 full weeks of festivities here in Antigua and Barbuda.
And exactly which 3 weeks are they, so I can book it off now and make sure I'm there?
Well, before you begin the booking, I just also want to add, we call something, it starts from around March. We call it the party season. And from March, go right down to August. On the weekends, we have these fantastic all-inclusive fetes. And when you were speaking with the director of culture, you were talking about the booze. And when we have an all-inclusive fete here in Antigua, we talk about premium quality drinks, all you can eat. And so our party season for Carnival starts as early as March, April, coming all the way down. Also, to just piggyback on what Mr. Freeland said, we do have that T-shirt mass, which he spoke about. And this T-shirt mass is unique only to Antigua. So you're coming to Antigua, and whereas a lot of our other Carnival celebrants within the Caribbean have 2 days or 1, we have 3 days. 3 days, and it's not enough. So when it comes to that fun element, when Antigua Carnival is happening, the music, the vibes, the revelry, we speak about, even with what Mr. Curtis was saying with the Calypsonians and the pan, we say Carnival is not Carnival without Bacchanal. And you have this competition that is just driving and pushing and the force. And when you come to Antigua during Carnival, you know it is happening. The steel banyards, they light up. Persons are practicing. Visitors can come to the banyards. They can watch. They can take the videotapes. I mean, Mr. Curtis is one of our top arrangers and youngest and most accomplished. He doesn't, blow his horn as he should. But, when you see the work he does with the young people, I tried to play pan, and I couldn't make it. I was the tambourine girl. That's when you can't really make make the final song. And now I'm seeing 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds with the tenor pan, which is like the hardest pan in my opinion. Some people say it's the double tenor. And they're just there strumming and playing. And, it is something that you must come and you must experience, because even though they have similarities, the uniqueness of Antigua's Carnival, it will just leave that impression on you. And every year you just look forward to it. And I'm telling you, the country this year, we felt the pain. Persons, put out their little videos, some in costume on the street with no music, some going across by recreation ground saying that they're homesick and they have on their costume. We feel the pain because it's something that we just definitely look forward to on an annual basis.
Yeah. I think that's been across the world this year. That with everybody, my family are from Trinidad, and they were lucky that it just came in just before the lockdown. So they was really lucky that they still got to have it. But then it's looking like next year is probably going to be cancelled. They were already talking about that for next year because it's so early on in the year. So I think that whole thing is echoing right the way across, because in London we should have had Notting Hill, and that's not happened. It's all, we've got virtual carnivals going on, and Canada did a virtual carnival as well. Yeah, it's not the same, at all. So do you think, because tourism has kind of developed more over the last 20 years, has Antigua's carnival become slightly more commercial, or has it kept to its core themes and identity?
I'll answer part of that question. We have a balance, because, as you know, the world, I would say, we have become one with social media. So there is a need now, or a set of travelers who are very interested in experiential tourism. So they want to travel for the experiences, and so, you know, they would go from one carnival to another carnival. And so what that has done, for carnival itself, it has made it a product. So you'll find that, for a person like myself who used to love to play mass and stuff like that, it's good that when you go from one country to another country, that you can identify with some of the music and the customs. But on the same token, you also want to find a balance of what's produced locally. And I think Antigua has managed to keep that balance. We too, like most of the other Caribbean islands and countries, we have been kind of segueing from the traditional mass in its appearance, as the director of culture said, and we have come more to like a party atmosphere. We realized that we were moving from this direction, and as Michael said, we decided on Monday we're going to make it more traditional. So along with the Monday wear, we now capture that traditional cultural aspect, because although it's identifiable, we need that uniqueness. And I know we have the uniqueness with the people, we have the uniqueness with the food, we have the uniqueness with our product, but we also want to have a uniqueness. When you come to our country, you can identify this and say, this is Antigua's Carnival, and I'm coming back because of this reason. And so I would say now we have a balance, and we're hoping to just maximize on that balance.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, and the last question really from me is more about, actually I do have another question, because it's quite interesting that when I'm going over to the Caribbean and I'm talking to you guys are all government ministers. So Carnival is really integral into your government system as kind of a commercial product. Is that correct? So with that.
Yes, it is. I mean, us not having Carnival in Antigua, we stimulate economic activity on all levels. We estimated through some, I call it a quick and dirty analysis, but through some research, that the average female during this Carnival period of 3 to 4 months would spend, or even let's just look at the 2 weeks, approximately $8,000 to $10,000. You're looking at hair, because you know you got to get the hair done, you got to get the makeup done. We're looking at the events, you're looking at the cost for the costumes, you're looking at the drinks. So we're stimulating everything. So you have the restaurants, you have the supermarkets, you have the barbershops, you have the nail salons, you have all of these persons who depend annually on this event to happen. And so we realize that is hitting our economy, and the government having this event, it's not like we are in a situation where we're saying we're measuring the profit just on the persons who come to the show or participate in the events, because it's so far reaching. You cannot really name a single industry that is not benefiting from Carnival on an annual basis. And COVID, it just really highlighted that even more.
Yeah. Okay. Anything further to add on that for?
And I agree with Petley on the economic activity has been somewhat shot because of COVID, because even with those service providers, the truck drivers, the sound systems, you know, the builders of the on the different trucks that put up the roof and that sort of thing, you know, all of those guys, they're impacted as well. The food providers who have to prepare the foods for the different mass troop, the different bands and so forth. And so, you know, it's really, it is one of the best economic activity for any country, well, for Antigua especially, that has been seriously affected, and we feel it all around, you know. And even from a mass band perspective, you know, we would have a vibe, as Petley said, from March go right down to Carnival. We have a camp where persons come in on a weekend basis and just have a vibe, playing dominoes and supporting the bar, you know, building friendships, learning about a new family, having different activities, you know, just getting that kind of camaraderie involved. And so just imagine from March until now, there hasn't been that spirit. So even without the economic activity, where you can go somewhere and just let all your frustration out and not have to worry about anything. You know, some people would say, though, Carnival, Monday and Tuesday are those 2 days where I just let loose. And I think it was Tian who sang that song last year, Let Loose and Jam. You know, those are the 2 days that we just let loose and have fun and don't even care about the next day, because right, you know, and it's just an unfortunate situation. And so not only do we feel it economically, but we feel it within our own social well-being and so forth, you know. So yeah, we can't wait for next year to happen, and I know the team that will be involved will definitely make sure that the product is so exceptional that, you know, if you actually miss Carnival next year or any part of our summer festival next year, I think is one of those years that you'll actually regret it, because your friends and your family will be talking about it for years to come.
Oh, thank you so much, you guys. This has been great. And yes, you've inspired me. You probably are going to see me over there next year at some point for this festival, because if all three of you are telling me I can't miss it, then, you know, if I do and it's going to be amazing, then I can only have myself to blame. So I will try and get myself organised for next year and hopefully see you guys then. But until then, thank you so much for being part of this, and thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Today I am here with the Honourable Darrell Matthews, Minister of Sports, Culture, Festival, Arts and the Carriff Festival. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and we're here to talk about the Antiguan Carnival today and the kind of origins of it. And one of the things that I've been looking at is the historical elements of Carnival and why we as Caribbean people have a Carnival, and why it is relevant for us as people, and what the future looks like, and if education is something that we should be implementing within the Carnival, rather than it just being showcased as a party, to make sure those educational points are in there, to the historical elements. So anything you would like to tell me about what you do and how you do it over there would be really helpful.
Sure, thank you very much. You know, Antigua and Barbuda's Carnival is a little bit unique and different from some of the more popular carnivals around the region, namely Trinidad and Tobago, Brazil, and one or two others. Their carnivals are pre-Lenten festivals where it's a celebration of life and the flesh and fun and all of that. And then on Ash Wednesday, we repent and we go forward into Lent. Antigua's Carnival is not that. Antigua's Carnival started as a celebration for the emancipation of slavery on August the 1st. And so our carnival has more cultural and traditional expositions. And so it is not only about the beautiful costumes and all of that, but it is really a cultural event that is used as a celebration of our emancipation from slavery. And so that is the immediate difference between our carnival and the carnival of some of these other countries. Of course, over the years, and with the movement of people, the movement of media, how easy it is for cultures to shift and to really pass to the region, a lot of the celebration has been focused and centered around the beautiful costumes. And the fear has always been for Antigua and Barbuda is that the cultural component could very possibly be lost and could give way to Carnival becoming a major street party for all intents and purposes. We in the ministry that is responsible for Carnival and responsible for culture have taken the decision that that will not happen on our watch. And so over the past few years, we've been putting things in place to have a reinfusion of that culture into our Carnival. And so there are some cultural elements that are traditionally Antiguan and Barbudan, the John Bulls, the Moko Jumbis, the Stilt Walkers, these sort of things. These are elements that we are seeking to reinfuse into our Carnival. We understand and appreciate that the younger demographic has a strong interest in the costumes and the beads and the bikinis and the feathers because it's beautiful and the younger generation loves the party. But while we are prepared to accommodate and to facilitate that street party, we will not allow the cultural component of Carnival to be lost. And so we are putting together and trying to re-engage our practitioners to ensure that we can present to the Caribbean and to the world, for that matter, a hybrid where our Carnival is not only the things that you will see in Trinidad and Rio and in Barbados and in other places, but our Carnival will stand out because it has that very strong cultural element that is infused in it.
That is so refreshing to hear, because it's nice to know that there is a kind of clinging on to that cultural element, because we're losing it in Europe a little bit at the moment. I'd say on our carnivals, we are having to kind of install that and implement that back in. So what, speaking to the other guys, they were saying that you're looking at, because you already, I think, is Antigua Carnival the longest carnival? Do you have, is it out of all of them?
I don't know if it's the longest, but I'll say it's the best. But we do have the days where we play mass. We have the opening of Carnival Parade, which is called a T-shirt mass, which really is a mass, and I use the word mass now to mean large, gathering of persons that will mix and mingle from all demographic groups. And the only requirement is to have a T-shirt with your particular band that you're playing with. And so it is a lot more affordable for every person to participate. And we have, that is by far the largest parade we have. Last year, I believe we had in excess of 20,000 persons taken to the streets, and that's 1/5 of our population in Antigua and Barbuda participating in this parade. And then we have, of course, the Carnival Monday and Tuesday, where the costumes are now displayed on parade. And what we have started to do in 2019, that we intended to continue in 2020, was to let that Carnival Monday be the focal point for the display of the traditional costumes and the cultural components of Carnival. So while the regular bands and the Carnival bands would have their Monday wear and whatever else, we started, and like I said, intended to continue this year, where the Monday would be a celebration of the culture, an expression of the culture. And then on Tuesday, that is where the bikinis and the beads and the feathers and so on will be on full display in the bands. It started last year, it worked fairly okay. I think we're satisfied with the results for the first year. We had intended to go very large this year, but as we're all aware, how 2020 has been turning out so far.
Yeah, they were saying to me that they want to extend it to 3 weeks next year.
Well, it's not so much that we're extending Carnival for 3 weeks, but because we're going to be hosting the Carifesta celebrations in Antigua and Barbuda in August of 2021, and the dates for that are August 12th to 22nd, 2021, and Antigua's Carnival will finish on, I believe it is August 3rd, 2021. The plan was to market August as a month of celebration of all things culture in Antigua and Barbuda, to market the destination as the place to be for August in 2021. So when our tourism folks and when our tour operators and our social media partners and the influencers, when they start to speak about Antigua and Barbuda for 2021, we are speaking about Carnival, the cultural expression of Carnival, the bikinis and feathers, the pageantry that goes along with our Carnival, the pan, the music, the calypso, and they will also be speaking about Carifesta, which is easily the largest event of its kind that would have taken place in this country. And so, just to reiterate, we're not extending Carnival by 3 weeks. What we're doing is celebrating the entire month of August as a month of celebration for all things culture.
Okay, there's a bit of a delay on it now. I'm not sure if you're hearing me properly.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, brilliant. All right. So we know where we've come from and we know where the future is. So thank you very, very much for taking that little bit of time out to have that discussion with me. Is there anything that you would like us to know further about the Antiguan Carnival, Antiguan and Barbudan Carnival?
Well, what I'd like to share with you and your audience is that we are very well aware that there's a huge Antiguan and Barbudan diaspora in the United Kingdom. For some reason, I'm not sure the historical reasons for it, but quite a few Antiguans and Barbudans live in Leicester. And so we are very early, right at this initial stage, inviting our Antiguan and Barbudan diaspora to start making the plans, start penciling Antigua and Barbuda as the place that you wish to be next summer. Antigua and Barbuda is a lot more than just our beautiful white sand beaches. We have positioned this country and we have positioned our carnival as the largest and best cultural explosion in the region. And so when we couple that with our Carafesta celebrations, it is just going to be an absolutely awesome month of August 2021. And so I'm looking forward to seeing them back home.
Okay, well, that's a great message to end on. Thank you very, very much.